So good morning, one and all. Glad to see you all still hanging in there. Sometimes about this time, people start to trickle off. They drop like flies. So I'm glad to see you're hanging in there. It must be stability, huh? This is it, the vow. Here it is. So a couple things this morning. First of all, Sister has a little bit of a reminder announcement about the schedule, etc.
Good morning. Just a reminder, so this afternoon, we have an opportunity for reconciliation from 2:30 to 4. Father Julian and Father Jeremy will be with us. Father Julian will be in the sacristy and Father Jeremy will be in the confessional. So it's not an official service. You can just come when you want, but it might be helpful to be there at the beginning of the time so they know how many are coming. Also, Nikki has a couple slots for one-on-one conversations left this morning. There are not slots scheduled for this afternoon, but if you still would like a chance to talk with her and you haven't done that, just touch base and you can work something out. I think that's it.
Good. Thank you. And now a word from your sponsor. Couple people have asked me about books because I have like 4 of them out there. And so sometimes I schlep a whole bunch of books with me, and then people on the airplane say to me, "What's in there?" Because it's just so heavy. And I have to say books, and they look at me like, feels like rocks, you know? Well, I did bring 1 copy of each of the 4 books, and I'll place them, where would I place them? Maybe right over here on this middle table, okay? The one we've been working with this week is this Organic Spirituality book, which teases out some of what we've been talking about, but not with the specific focus on joy like we're kind of trying to work with. So this is Organic Spirituality. A second one, my favorite, is Meditations with Merton. Not too far from here, you know that man. He was one of my, I was one of his, what you call, I learned about Merton in my undergrad years and have read everything, wrote my first thesis about him and so forth. So this is a meditation book, 30 meditations for like a month's worth of meditations. And it's one of those really good books to put on the back of your toilet so that when you sit down and you have to be there, it's an easy read. And then this one is From Monks to Missionaries, or Missioners. No, it says missionaries. From Monks to Missionaries, this is a book that kind of looks at the overview of 4 spiritual traditions within the church, starting with, of course, monasticism, and the Benedictines are featured as one of the communities, the Mendicants, the active apostolic, and missionaries. So there's a whole section on each one of those, and then like 2 or 3 religious communities per school of spirituality that I feature, and I give overview of the founder, foundress, and what their story is, and then what their contemporary ministries are, and so forth. So it's kind of a good overview book, easy read, easy read. And then the last one is this Planning and Implementing Retreats, a parish handbook. This is for people who wanted some sort of a resource if they were planning on retreats for groups. And so it's an easy read too. So I'll put these all on that table over there, so you can just look them over if you'd like to see what's there. And let's see, tomorrow, yes. So I'm doing a special shout out to the people who are joining us live stream today. And I want to say specifically, we would like to invite you to join us in person tomorrow morning, because we have our closing ritual, and rituals don't translate so well electronically. So we have stuff that you get when you come here for this closing ritual. So if you can come for this closing ritual tomorrow morning, I would love to see you so that I can offer you some of the goodies that I brought with me. And of course, all of you will be here, right? Right? We will all be here. So I don't have to say anything about that. A little vocation story. When I was 5, Sister Louise, my soon-to-be first-grade teacher, said to me and my mother, well, Nikki, no, she called me Monica. Monica, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I clung to my mom's pants and I said, I want to be a sister. Well, that lit her up, huh? At 5, I wanted to be a sister. At 10, I was serious about it. So I wrote to the Maryknoll sisters and I said, in New York, and I'm in Montana, okay? There's a little distance between. So I said to the Maryknoll sisters, dear sisters, my name is Monica. I thought that if I used my baptismal name, I would have more clout. You know, Monica. So I said, so my name is Monica. I'm 10 years old. I live in Havre, Montana, and I feel called to be a missionary sister in Africa. What train should I take to get to you? They were kind. This was at the time of the turn of the Vatican Council, and they wrote me back this nice little letter saying, isn't that nice that you want to be a missionary sister in Africa? You know what? Why don't you stay home and grow up first? I was devastated. They don't get it. I mean, I had kinship with Jesus in the temple when they pretty much took him away, you know? But I did what they said. I stayed home and I grew up. And years later, the question came back again about vocation and so forth. That's a little complicated. I won't go into all that, but I will say this. On my 30-day retreat, when I was 26, we brought the question forward during the retreat, and I was all ready to bolt and head into a religious community. I had been doing a sabbatical with men and women, there were 55 of us from all over the world, and I really felt the pull. And so during the retreat, it's like, well, God, do I have a vocation? And God said to me, yes, you do. And I'm like, woohoo, I'm off to be a sister. We're going to pray together. We're going to sing together. We're going to share everything spiritual. We're going to have community and be so cozy. And then God says to me, wait a minute. You have a vocation, but it is not a traditional one. What? And he said, no, your vocation, Nikki, he called me by my real name, Nikki, is to spirituality. And so we want to school you in spirituality as much as we can and get you ready so that I can send you wherever I want you to go. Well, initially, I was disheartened because I had idealized religious life as this like perfect opportunity to grow with God, to be with other women of faith, to share that easily and warmly. And that was being denied of me. So I had to adjust things inside myself. I have since learned, and I'm sure this is news to you, that that is not what happens a lot in religious communities. Women religious and men religious aren't always sharing their faith with each other. They may be praying together, but they may not be sharing. They may not be praying with their hearts. It may not be that cozy, ideal community experience that I fantasized about in my childhood. So I want to start this morning with a song. And the song is called Sister. And the lyrics are on one of the sheets that are on your tables. And I want you to listen to the song as if you really believed it. So I'm going to give you just a moment before we start to play it to read the lyrics to yourself and see what they say. And let us pray. Beloved God, help us to be sisters. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. So you have been hearing a lot come out of me over the last 6 days or so, and I have excused you from a lot of conversation around your tables, but today is the day. And so I want you to spend a little bit of time with your sisters, and you can do this in twos. All right. So you don't have to talk to the whole table if you don't want, or if that's easier, that's fine. But I want you to pause and reflect a little bit about these 6 spiritual practices: slowing down, sharing your story, stillness, solitude, surrender, and solidarity. And I want you to converse with one another for a short time about which of those practices come naturally to you. They're easy. Which ones attract you? And which ones don't? And just have a little conversation with each other for about 10 minutes on that, okay? You can join up if you're solo in a table, just join up with another person or a table and just take a few minutes to share about these practices and what comes easy and what does not, okay? 2 more minutes, 2 more minutes. Sorry? You just get 2 more minutes, which means if you still have more to say, you'll have to talk, you have to practice sharing your story later. 2 more minutes. 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 Okay, let's come back together, all right? Thank you for practicing this spiritual discipline of sharing your stories. And I hope you've wet your whistle so you'll want to continue and go further in this conversation after the retreat concludes tomorrow. So we've been traveling around this wheel or this umbrella of 6 organic practices to help us raise our awareness of how to find the sacred in our lives and how to be in a contemplative space with that. But we've also touched on joy as a spiritual gift, and maybe even how some of these things could help us practice that. So, joy is significantly linked to health in the spiritual life. And the older we get, the more important joy is. But sometimes the more elusive it is too. So in John's gospel, he says this. Jesus said, "All this I tell you that my joy may be yours and your joy may be complete." So our joy is linked to that of Christ and his to us, and it goes further. Ours is linked to each other's. So today is dedicated to a reflection on your individual integration for being joyful through contemplative living. And as I said earlier, you've been listening to me talk all week about these organic practices. And I thought maybe you would like some other voices. So I went to 2 old wise men of different traditions, both recognized for their incredible work on peace. They're linked even more in their relationship by joy, though. It's central to their spirituality and to their entire approach to life. So we're going to watch a 30-minute clip from the documentary called Mission Joy, based on the book of Joy, in which Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama have a conversation. And the focus of that is on joy. So I want to pose a question as you're watching this. Have you ever experienced joy after suffering hardship?
I also want to ask us to just forget about the cameras. This is not live. If you fall asleep, that's fine. One time, we were at Arch's office, and the chairman of the Dalai Lama Foundation turned to me and said, "What do you think about Arch and the Dalai Lama doing a book together?" I said, "Wow, that would be amazing. Like, what would it be about?" And we both paused for a second, and we looked at each other and we said, "Joy."
Just one moment.
Central to the way that you are in the world. Your spiritual practice hasn't made you somber and serious. It's made you more joyful. So how can people cultivate that sense of joy as a way of being, not just a feeling?
Yes, it is very true. Although you say my English very, very limited, very tiny. So you see, sometimes I do not know the exact meaning of the word. I think when I use the word joy, in a sense, satisfaction, yes, which is the meaningful life and the ultimate source of a meaningful life is within our own self.
Yes. In fact, when you say you are pursuing happiness, you are not going to find it. It's very elusive.
That's right. Yes. You see, usually everybody seeks happiness, joyfulness, but from outside, from money. Physical health, inside, not outside. So now, here, you, Tutu, my long time, my friend, see, you have, I think, great potential.
Potential.
Great potential, yes. I mean, great potential is to create more happier humanity. Even you see, just look, you see your face, you're always laughing, always so joyful. That itself, very positive message.
But let me ask you,
Oh,
you've been in exile 50 what years?
56.
56. From a country that you love more than anything else. Why are you not morose?
Morose, correct.
Sad, sad.
Oh. Some people call Tibet Shangri-La. The reality is something different and much more difficult.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama was born to an ordinary farmer's family. In fact, his parents were illiterate. 13th Dalai Lama passed away. The Tibetan succession system for choosing the next Dalai Lama relies on this Buddhist concept of reincarnation. There is a formal recognition of a child at a very young age as the continuity of the Dalai Lama, and he was recognized at the age of 2. One of the method as part of the process involves identifying what objects belonging to the predecessor, which are mixed with other objects as well. He passed the test with flying colors. Once he was formally recognized, he was brought to Lhasa, to central Tibet, the Potala Palace.
When I was young, we never saw my mother's sort of angry face. Very, very kind. But I remained separate from my mother.
That meant the day-to-day upbringing was handled by monks, tutors, and attendants. His Holiness, in some of his books, writes of loneliness. His curiosity was piqued by science. He had a fascination for mechanical things. From the Potala Palace, he would see these shepherds' kids, coming home, bringing home their goats and other animals, singing freely and whistling with a sense of abandon. The expectation, aspiration, and hopes of the entire Tibetan people was placed upon, I would say unfairly, upon the shoulders of this young kid.
Like age 16, I lost my freedom because the people asked me to take political responsibility. They insist because Chinese military already entered eastern part of Tibet.
Communist China claims that Tibet has been historically part of China, and it's reclaiming what it sees as its lost territory. And by 1951, they had completely taken over the entire country. Up until 1959, the Dalai Lama really made efforts to try to find a political solution to the arrangement of China's presence in Tibet.
Both sides, Chinese side and Tibetan side, hardline attitude. Of course, Tibetan side, serious of devotion to the independence.
March 10, 1959, thousands and thousands of people came out into the streets protesting against the Chinese presence, which then created the large-scale people's uprising.
Many people suppose was a protected Dalai Lama, but I believe firstly in non-violence. All my effort to cool down the situation failed.
And soon after there was a bombardment by the Chinese.
So then there's no other choice except escape.
Then the question was, how do you get out of this without being noticed? What His Holiness did was to disguise himself as a soldier. I can imagine those few moments when he's stepping out of his palace compound and pretending to be, one of the guards. And he left Lhasa and then began the long journey to India.
I think one really fearful night was the road by the river. Just other side of the river, Chinese military barracks. And we tried to minimize sound of the horse hoof. If they notice, if they open fire, finished. Then the next morning, the last moment to see Potala. My horse returned towards Potala, some kind of final goodbye, and very heavy feeling. Age 24, I lost my own country.
No one could have told he was greeted by high Indian officials that the Dalai Lama had been in mortal danger since he left Lhasa, that he had been forced to leave his capital.
Because I become refugee, so this new opportunity comes. If I still remain in Potala, in Lhasa, some people, you see, describe golden cage. Dalai Lama, holy Dalai Lama, remain like that. So I personally, you see, prefer the refugee life. It's more useful, more opportunity to learn, more experience.
Reframing, cognitive reframing is really a powerful technique to change your mindset. And in the Buddhist language, we call it outlook. And this is a fundamental insight in Buddhist psychology. That's why so much emphasis is placed in Buddhist psychology on changing the way you see the world. Instead of resentment and bitterness, reframing can help us, liberate us from that resentment and free us.
You see, if you look from one angle, you feel, oh, how bad, how sad. But if you look from another angle about that tragedy, that same event, that gives me some new opportunity to learn. And then there is a Tibetan saying, wherever you received much love, that's your home.
That's very beautiful.
Oh.
I mean, that what you've said is quite wonderful. I think to add to it is that the thing is not how do you escape. It's how can I use this as something positive. And His Holiness has indicated that nothing, I think, can be more devastating in many ways than being turfed out of your own country. I mean, it's part of you. And by rights, His Holiness should be a sourpuss. I mean, he should be,
That's what saying.
when you just do that face, leave your face as it is normal. Like you see, look like that. You look like you're real sourpuss.
그래서
And then when you smile, your face lights up. And it is because in very large measure, you have transmuted what would have been totally negative. You have transmuted it into goodness. Because, again, we have not said, well, how can I be happy? You've not said that. You've said, how can I help to spread compassion and love?
The idea of the dialogues was to explore the nature of joy in the face of adversity. But they also wanted us to bring in the science. They said this shouldn't be a Buddhist dialogue or a Christian dialogue. This should be about the nature of being human. And so they asked me to find out whether what they were saying was confirmed or contradicted by science. Dr. Sonia Lyubomirsky at the University of California, Riverside has done some extraordinary studies on the science of happiness.
My lab and I started doing what we call happiness interventions. So they're basically like clinical trials, but instead of testing a new treatment, say for COVID, we're testing a happiness strategy. In one typical study, we found that people who did acts of kindness for others became happier and actually stayed happier for about 2 to 4 weeks after the study was over. And then people who did acts of kindness for themselves felt good while they were doing it, but that didn't change their happiness. So what really was important about kindness was that you're connecting with another person, and it might actually have effects on the body. So we collected blood, and we found that those who did acts of kindness for others showed changes in their RNA gene expression in the blood that were associated with a healthier immune profile. So it turns out that happiness isn't just something that feels good. It's not just about pleasure, but it's more than that. Happier people have more friends. They're also more productive at work. They're more creative. They're physically healthier. They have stronger immune systems. They even live longer.
So the best way to fulfill your own happy life, help others, make more friends. How to create friends? Trust. I mean, we have to take care ourselves. Without that, we cannot survive. We need that. But we should have wise selfish rather than foolish selfish. Foolish selfish means just think of yourself. Don't care about others' right. And then bully other, cheating other, exploiting other to gain something for you. That's foolish selfish. Taking care others' well-being, ultimately best way to fulfill your own happy life or joyful life. So that's wise selfish, isn't it?
You're very good. You're wise. I wouldn't say wise, selfish. You're wise. You don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to become a friend to the Dalai Lama. It just happens. I think it was a communication of the heart. Look at this. I thought you were non-violent.
The Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu have only actually been together half a dozen times. You know, global spiritual masters don't have a lot of time to hang out with their buddies.
Think good thoughts. Think of me.
The Dalai Lama was invited to my dad's 80th birthday in Cape Town. The South African government at that time had an extensive trade relationships with China, and they delayed the process of issuing him a visa for weeks and weeks and weeks.
It's quite unbelievable, the discourtesy that they have shown to the Dalai Lama. I mean, Dalai Lama. I am warning you, one day we will start praying for the defeat of the ANC government.
For the African National Congress, for the ANC to prevent the Dalai Lama from coming to South Africa and not giving him a visa was just a betrayal.
So we knew that the only way to get them together was to bring Arch to Dharamsala.
We just didn't know if his health would be strong enough.
My father had several recurrences of prostate cancer. And so there was, constant concerns and in and out of hospitals and all kinds of infections. So eventually all of the pieces fell into place. My father was so happy to finally see his dear friend again and to embark on a joint mission that spoke to their life's work, a mission of joy.
So they are impressive men, impressive people. I don't want to say much about this. I think it speaks for itself. And if any of you are interested in seeing the entire video, I'd be happy to share it with you today or tomorrow afternoon. But I want you to return to your own reflection on joy today. And I want you to ponder what joy looks like in real life for you. And so I suggest you return to your God again and talk to God about this. What's prompted joy in my life? Would any of these 6 practices orient me towards letting joy erupt in my life? Slowing down, sharing my story, stillness, solitude, surrender, and solidarity. And where could I begin? What's the first step I need to take to perhaps make that happen? And I invite you to take the day today to ponder these things and to reflect on them in relation to your own life and your own experience. Tomorrow morning, when we come together, we're going to celebrate this week of prayer together in a final ritual. And so, as you sit today with the questions and with ponder your experience of joy, notice if you have experienced joy in recent times. And if you haven't experienced it, what might that be about? At the root of all spiritual health is the capacity for awe and wonder. And that can happen in microscopic ways or large macrocosmic ways. So you might dial down and check your capacity to be filled with awe and wonder and see where that capacity is in your life. So we're going to stop now, and I'll send you back out to the silence and to meet your God. And have a good final day of retreat.